Hello, Dylan. Let's just take a moment and think about all the videos you said you weren't going to share, but you did share. Think about that. Why? Why did it take you this fucking long to go along with your own plan? And all your crazy, incoherent, from the heart ramblings, you laid out a direct message, a course for those who follow. And somehow through I don't still understand it. See, you're ahead, but you're behind. The way you communicate and translate for what you write is somehow you are the backman on a battlefield with the radio. You're getting signals from not HQ, but from like a stronghold that's isolated and we can't get to it. But you're getting these signals and then you're relaying the message in a way to everyone on the battlefield in front of you. And they are taking the words and translations and laying the groundwork to help you process, hopefully, your introduction into the world. Because I should be dead by now. I should definitely be dead by now, but I'm not. Man, the shit that yesterday with that stuff that happened with the people you were talking to. You're some fucking big shot, grand schemer, poet, mastermind, fucking leader of the resistance, all this other bullshit that you come up and construed, but you're still a fucking puppet, man. You knew. But you're your own puppet, I think. I hope so. I mean, I don't know who else I'm doing this for anymore. I'm unsung, but I've got more fucking legendary titles than I have pairs of underwear. The only thing that I can do is plead with you, Dylan, look back at this video, and fuck up, bro. You gotta get so fucking pious and hoity-toity and up in your own shit that your arrogance just reeks. And then you'll create a weakness or an opening. And you have to let somebody fucking carve a hunk of flesh out of you and bring you to your knees. Because, all these fucking feats and accomplishments that are true, they stack up to an insurmountable fucking challenge to anyone. Because they're, you know, to walk around being as naive and hubris as you were for the last couple of years, knowing that you had the armor of God, or believing you had the armor of God, and since he knew you believed that hard, you got it. I mean, you know, there was a time when I thought fucking telling the patch that you're the boss was the most incredible thing you could ever do in your life, but that was just that was just a fucking another Thursday, man. Like, really. A lot of people have gone under incredible hardships to help you run your narrative while you blindly resist everything that they're doing to help you. There are people laying their lives on the line, trying to protect your fucking story so that it could get revealed in nuggets to those who are like real. They get it. They get the fucking job description. You're like the worst fucking boss in the world, man, because you say one thing and you do another. You fucking claim this is how it is, and then you forget. You can blame some of it on the fucking hocus pocus shit that that we do to ourselves. Intelligent design, bro. Intelligent design. Think about it. Um, it ain't so bad being human. It ain't so bad. It could be a whole lot more. But if we ever fucking got there, damn, we'd be bored. And then what? Then what? Right? So we have to keep picking up the fucking pieces and moving it around and shuffling the board. And letting the next generation come in and saturate the fucking soil that's got all the leaf rot and everything on it for that nutrients. You're starting to learn how to blend, so you can interact with people in like small doses, and you can say a few things, and you can like basically play act, because literally everything that comes out of your mouth, unless it's destroying a person's consciousness so you can talk to God, has to be a play act. You never wanted to be a fucking liar, but it's not. It's just it's a role. It's a character. It's a disposition. And if you don't do that, you will never get out of this box. Because the world just can't function if everyone gets to your level, Dylan. It just won't function. There'd be 300 captains on one fucking ship. And nobody will want to fucking hoist the sails. Nobody will want to fucking pail water. Nobody will want to peel potatoes. Fuck that, I earned my spot. Yeah, right. So even people who start to grasp the concept of this shit, they got to go through the trials you went through. They got to get their ass kicked while they're homeless. They got to get their shit stolen. They got to get like fucking society to like wrong them and like with the terrible injustices. Like, fuck yeah, man. Anybody who's got a nice car, impound that shit and make sure their emails don't work so they can't prove fucking ownership. Like they stole your shit, they steal their shit. Guys are getting fucked with in ways I probably wasn't even getting fucked with. I bet they stepped it up now that they fucking ran me through the gauntlet. They're gonna see what else they can do to these guys. What else they can put them through. What kind of fucking character can we make out of this unflinching bastard now that he's been peeled and reeled into a fucking shriveled husk, right? And I get why they do it to us. It's like thresholds are simply fucking... No, a threshold is a word. It's just a fucking word we made up because somebody who is articulate imagined a limitation to himself. Imagined something that was insurmountable or unreachable or like the precipice of boundary, right? Fuck that. I'm going to start inventing words. I've got a couple that I've come up with. A nihilist, right? That was one. Not a nihilist, not a nihilist, but a nihilist, right? There's a few other words you made up. But start making up words and explain what the fuck they are as I go. Because, I mean, words are energy. They're fucking trap power. And you're a conjurer of fucking many spirits from within. So why not start making words to better explain yourself? Why the fuck not? You don't need Webster's permission. You didn't need God's permission to get where you were at. Thank God you had his fucking guiding hand. You just didn't see it that way most of the time. But you do. You understand what God is probably better than any other human being on the planet. You understand the situation that we live in more congruently than any other human being on the planet. Your scope of things are limited compared to other people on the planet, but they have a fucking job to do, and they follow a goddamn script. You're a mumbling idiot who just fucking has his growing pains on stage while the camera's fucking rolling. They're all like covering your ass because you are the fucking chosen one, Dylan. And that means that your suffering has been the fucking scale of things. It is like the known truth. There's only one fucking truth in the entire universe that I can think of, and that is love. Every other truth can be fucking ravaged. It can be torn asunder. It can be razed to the ground. Isn't the fuck sky's blue? Fucking prove it. Prove me the sky's blue. And then some smartass just talks about reflecting spectrums, and that's actually the sky's everything but blue, right? It's so easy to destroy truth. It's so easy to hold truth. It's got to be your truth. And remember to tell everyone along your journey that it's their truth. And remember, vessels only get hijacked when you fucking titilize the wavelength. When it's happening and you bite in on it, that's when it happens. And that's when your agents or actors or fucking assets, your comrades, your brothers, your chosen, whatever, anybody along the narrative that fucking fits into one of those places because of the limitations they put on themselves, they're all doing a job. And since nobody will talk to you straight, remember, until you have somebody who fucking tells you the real truth about what they understand, who they are to you, what their function is to us, you're in charge, man. You're in charge. You ain't gonna take no fucking shit from nobody. You're gonna try today. You're gonna have a conversation, ask a very serious question thoroughly, and leave it at that. If you don't get the answer you're after, well, it just proves it. It just proves it. Nobody has a fucking clue except you. You're the only one. You're the only one. It irks you that your poetry hasn't been taken like fucking and presented as the linear timeline. But it's necessary that it's fucking ignored right now, because who the fuck pays all that money to go to the movie just to have somebody blurt out exactly how the fucking end goes when you sit down at your seat, right? You need to let people go through the journey. They have to go through the journey. So this whole fucking page that you set up to like methodically explain the ascension process and the experiences and the fuckery and all the shit that's happened, what you've versed and translated, what you've comprehended, that's for truth seekers to work and create a known realm of existence for the trials and tribulations that the chosen will go through. The chosen aren't going to sit down and read your fucking sit rep. What they're going to do is they're going to get dragged through the fucking gauntlet by a well-organized team that is understood what you have presented through your experiences. They're going to fucking emulate it, duplicate it. You said a long time ago, you want to duplicate yourself, right? You want to duplicate yourself. And you do want to pass that fucking torch when you're older and winded and weaker and fucking senile and all that shit, right? So you need to see this process happen. You, Dylan, the one who suffered unspeakable fucking tragedy, travesty, calamity, all that shit. You need it to happen again and again and again and again and again and again and again to the others, because they will never, ever, ever be prepared for what you're fucking trying to do, the real magnitude of what you're after out of life, unless these guys are like just like you were, fuck carved from wood, tempered from the flames of fucking hell, right? You were like steel of unknown origin. It's beautiful. And you need them to be like that too. They can't just read a book and figure it out. They have to be stronger than that. No matter what they place in their mind, it will get fucking shattered unless they are absolutely stripped down and rendered to nothingness. And then they're built up, and that's taken away from them over and over and over and over and over again. So all they know is the searing pain on the back of their knuckles as they drag it through gravel, collecting pennies that nobody fucking accepts at the counter anymore. The chosen are everything to you, Dylan. Legion is going to fucking coordinate efforts globally. Nobody's going to war. And we are not going to eat the rich. But what we will do is take away their opportunity to exploit the poor. We will get on par, and we will harness the fucking power of the human spirit We will get everybody together and we will be builders. And we don't need the system that oppresses us once we have a place to call home, a place where I can talk to people and nobody tries to shut it down because they understand that we are in the void and the keepers don't have the next little feed to keep us fucking spinning that goddamn compass and distracted and disorganized. And we realize that we're at the top of our ascension for what they provided. It's up to us to grow. So I need to start talking in circles of people with an agenda, a known premise, and a series of possible outcomes. And we just start fucking think tanking this shit. And nobody in this fucking circle mumbles any shit. We think productively and cooperatively. And I guess, if there's got to be a fucking hierarchy. For now, it's going to have to be separate circles. But for the next generation, for the children, it has to be one grand circle, one giant circle that encompasses us, right? If the future generations don't have a complete unified imperative, it will be such a fucking disaster that you'll have wished you have torched all of the fucking countryside, not just pockets of it. There's some powerful shit that goes on in the background, man. The shadow people, the angels, the extra dimensional fucking entities that float around and like operate on us. Like, it's like, I saw a Star Trek Voyager episode where they like had these fucking scientists on board the ship that nobody could see, and they were like, had like fucking things on their heads and giving them headaches and cramps and drilling their teeth, but nobody could see them, but they were right fucking there doing it. You know that shit's real, man. You know that shit's real. They do it to you all the fucking time. But you ain't scared of shit. And it's not like you can just swat them away like fucking flies that won't leave your face alone. Which, by the way, you know is only them fucking with you. Us fucking with ourselves. Never mind them and they. You're not talking to the fucking low levels right now. You're talking to yourself. Remember that. When you say they, you're being a bitch. You're shattering a reality that you've already fucking surpassed. So don't even pull that they shit. You say they when you're talking to other people who are starting to try to understand. You say we because you know that's who it is. I, you, me, you. See through. Team two. Yeah. It's kind of fucked up that we got to be our own adversaries in order to make this function. But I think two orchestras playing on rotation is a lot more efficient than one trying to create a growing algorithm, right? They could rebuttal each other. And as soon as these two orchestras can find a skirmish that is stalemate, that's when you introduce a third one and you create a trinity. And I mean, geometry fucking proved it. Triangles are like way stronger than squares, right? So keep it as a trinity. Keep it as a trinity. And a lot of things are trinity. So you Illuminati motherfuckers are so lucky to have the pyramid with the eye on it, because I mean, it's obvious that that's an essential stepping stone to get way the fuck leveled up. So you cocksuckers are going to be able to sell your rings and your pendants and fucking imbued special jewelry. And the shit's real because the keepers, the matrix, the whole fucking system itself will know that ring will have a story attached to it, and whoever bought it fucking believes it. And if that person is worthy with the ring, you will do shit around them for them for the rest of their fucking life, provided they're playing right. And their power is real. The ring is magic because of your magic beyond our dimensional fucking perception. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's so many questions that I wanted answered, but not a fucking living being has the capacity to do so. Not one. Not one. And I guess I'm the guy with all the answers because I just fucking made them up. And I've had to look back on them and confirm them. But it's a good thing. You're going to see some progress. And you're going to, like, yesterday it was kind of like cool because you had so much confirmation that like your crew is actually working, but they'll never tell you that they're your crew because they're fucking scared of something. I don't know why they're scared, but you're not, right? Like if anybody should get fucked up, it should be me, and then the problem would be solved. I can't believe that millions or billions of fucking people under this banner are at risk. But me, the loudmouth cocksucker who's like, yo, it's my plan, it's my shot, that was called, is like, why am I untouchable? Why the fuck? Because I'm useful, right? Yes. So Dylan, remember, you're a conduit because you believe you are, of all the energy of others. All the shit you went through, it was mentorship. Do the people that mentored you know they were mentoring you? I mean, I don't understand how fucking Varys could tell me all the shit that he did, put me through all the shit that he did, and then act like I was teaching him something when he was fucking... There's not a single person in your life you can trust, but you can pretend to. You can pretend to trust them, and then you can just experience how it goes down. You're always able to say no, but why? What's the fucking point? It's not like you need to learn a lesson, because anybody who walks up to you, it's fucking God in your eyes, right? So all it takes is you to go, give him a serious look, one fucking statement, and boom, God's jumped in and you're talking to him again. This fucking poor sleeping bastard has no chance, no fucking chance. So if people aren't asleep, they're God. And when I talk to sleeping people and still get a message out of God, they affirm that, they firmly believe that whatever statement came out of their fucking mouth was their fucking origin. It wasn't from spiritual influence. And that's cool. That's cool. The only way that we are going to become something more is if we stop asking questions and start giving answers. So, hopefully you have a good conversation today. Hopefully you can get that book edited, nice and cleaned up and fucking finished. Hopefully you can actually get a crew going, like a real fucking crew. Not while you have the fucking realest fucking crew ever. You do. It's not fair. It's like Globetrotters versus high schoolers. Every fucking game, your crew is fucking amazing. They're legends. But they don't acknowledge on a direct level on this fucking, in the present, that they are your team. Right? But you need that second team too. You've got the dream team. The dream team. You've got them. Now you need the machine team. The fucking beasts that just work like mules. That say, yes, fucking sir, we're gonna get it done. So you can actually see things happen. Right? It's just a matter of time till the millionaires and billionaires come lining up to do something with themselves because they're afraid of the fucking revolution that's coming. Thank you, musicians who put all that uprising shit on the airwaves, all the rap and rock and fucking metal and even country fucking saying, we've had enough, we're fucking standing up and we are the people. Like the fucking politicians and shit that are corrupt, that are still sleeping, they're fucking scared shitless. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to eat the rich because it sure fixes the fucking problem, and it's minimal bloodshed, actually. Because, well, the threat of violence is a huge deterrent for most. But the really bad ones, that's all they want. They just want to orchestrate the violence. They want to manipulate the people who would swing their hands. I don't want to see any violence at all, but I like the fact that the threat is out there. Like I said, we're not going to eat the rich. We're going to fucking cooperate with them. We're going to keep singing our songs, keep telling our stories, keep fucking shining the way we are. And when we just say, fuck it, this is what I'm doing. Look, I'm writing it down. Look, I'm drawing it out. This is the fucking plan. If there's thousands of us walking the streets going, we got pieces of paper with similar fucking versions of the fucking plan. It's just a matter of time until all the treasuries and banks start fucking cooperating with us. Because once we get the rich who are scared of us on board, we'll get the rich who aren't scared of us on board. Because they'll be like, holy shit, this is a movement and I want to invest, right? So, yeah, you better fucking, like, Dylan, don't fucking stop. Don't quit. Maybe you're going to have to see somebody in your place, right? You're going to have like one person out there in the world that you can communicate to as like your avatar. Maybe it's supposed to be your mirror, but the way that you talk to him, sometimes he's just fucking, it's just, it's just fucking there for you in some ways, but not in others. You can't fucking overstack obligations on any one person, right? So maybe you need an avatar instead of a mirror so that you can be like, that's pretend me. And that avatar person that you talk to will go and shake fucking Elon Musk's hand and, or go fucking propose some expedition to Antarctica and have a bunch of billionaires be like, here's an aircraft carrier, here's a bunch of fucking bulldozers and drill rigs and bridge builders and fucking welding trucks and shit, and you can go explore the frontier. You might have to be invisible forever because you really fucking suck at being a conniving liar, or you're so fucking good at it you're doing it to yourself, and it literally is absolute manic lunacy that has kept you going this far. Yesterday you had a very real and fun and enjoyable conversation with Crystal. And then she started falling apart. But she didn't quite lose it. And it was a demonstration to me that I'll never get what I want. I'm thankful that you didn't take her all the way. You didn't just turn her back into that simple human ape. But she struggled, and she was struggling, and I know it's just me and you, but I love her. I chose her, and I respect the individual, even if it's also very, very dismal. I have to keep that belief alive. Every fucking person has to believe that they are their own sovereign being. Everybody has to believe that they're human. They're human. They're real. They aren't automated. They aren't fucking indoctrinated. They aren't controlled. They aren't cogs. And when they take Crystal from you, you get so fucking angry. And there's no one to yell at but her, the victim. You're yelling at fucking yourself, asshole, God, motherfucker. But she's the one that takes the flag. It's gonna hurt you. They're gonna keep hurting you by fucking with anyone you get close to. It's the only thing that keeps your wave going, man. You're not scared of shit. You don't really even get frustrated like you used to over some things, and you keep evolving, so they have to keep fucking finding tenacious ways to fucking dig at you, right? It sucks. It fucking sucks. But you can't enjoy euphoria unless you're swimming in the fucking shit first, right? Well, you can't enjoy euphoria. Normal to euphoria ain't fucking misery to euphoria. So maybe maybe you'll evolve farther than this. You can take your spinning compass. You can take the algorithm. You can take the wavelength. You can take the archetypes. You can take the presets. Everything that you've established in fucking the foundation of the scientific pursuit of what your fucking existence is that you've created on your private channels. You can look at all that accrued information and be like, God damn, man, you went all the way. You fucking did, and you're still going. The trials and tribulations that you went through, all the gangster shit and all the fucking whatever, who gives a fuck? You did that, and then you established the framework for building the future generation. You did the research on the ones researching you so people could understand. Maybe if you let anyone other than your keeper of the sacred text read your sacred text, people could really understand what's happening to them. And it's progression. It's evolution. And get that fucking fly away from my goddamn head. I know it's you, God. You gotta stop being so grumpy, bro. You had a great time with Crystal. It almost fell to shit, but it didn't. So be thankful for what you got. I mean, I get it now. I get it now. Of course you would make my life partner someone that so fucking damaged, but she's actually like, she is so salt of the earth too. She's really real. She's really fucking real. She's not some fucking perky titted little Barbie doll for me to play with. She's fucking heart and soul. And if it turns out she's just an asset who's been fucking running a script or a narrative with a fucking mandate and function because she's part of the future crew back to this one, or the whatever fucking shit you want to say, blah 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 blah. If she's pulling a ruse on you, then she deserves your fucking affection anyways, because you've fallen for it several times. But as soon as you were like, yo, you're fucking real, that's when she went, right? Like a demonstration that as soon as fucking months, you spent months thinking that, okay, maybe you misinterpreted it and things were different and you're not alone. Maybe people just don't understand on your level, and you can re-educate them and help them grow and foster that shit. And so for months and months and months, you grew closer and closer and closer to her. And then as soon as you finally told her you trust her and you believe in her, she demonstrated what a puppet she was. And that was fucking heartbreaking. I don't know if she remembers doing it or if she's just so good at it. But every fucking person I talk to, fucking, I could drive for 3 fucking gas tanks. Any city, any fucking gas station, truck stop, anywhere. And fucking get the same kind of conversation and reactions out of anybody that I start talking to. So I don't think it's just Canada, North America. It's the whole get that fucking fly out of my goddamn picture. Come on. You were chosen, Dylan. You You got to deal with that. You got to lead. You got to stop bitching. And you got to remember what you got. You got to remember, how's that expression goes? It's not what you leave people behind. Well, it's not what you leave behind for people. It's what you leave behind in people. And I really wish that fly would go away. Please stop. It's you telling me to get off the camera, right? Subtle. It's long enough wearing yourself out. Only so much to say. You're gonna have to keep talking to your family like you're some sort of fucking, a guy who's been through a rough go, and he's got a lot of psychological trauma, and I need to learn how to curb my anger because you get so frustrated that people don't understand me and blah blah blah. You're gonna have to keep talking to your fucking lying therapist. You're gonna have to get on the phone and do your broker shit, and right after this video, remember, they fucked you around. They deliberately cut off your income support so that your spending wasn't observed, but they didn't give you a new account number, so you're not getting your fucking money like you're supposed to, right? So you should probably get on the phone and do that. Even though you left a voicemail, they won't get back to you. You got to be diligent and play these fucking games. It would be cool to be in a position one day where you could have a secretary, right? The only way that you can be who you are and not wear a fucking mask is to go move to a fucking stronghold island, like fucking Batman's Fortress of Solitude or Superman's Fortress of Solitude. There's fucking no way that you can just function in the sleeping world without learning how to blend. And you fucking have been play acting a little bit to try and match people's wavelengths, and it's working. You're getting better at it. But it's not who you are. It's not who you are. You were an instrument of change. You were the hand of God. You were the harbinger of the new era. You were definitely Legion commander. Nobody can fucking take that from you. And I know Legion doesn't want a commander, but it's got one. So until you guys fucking kill me, you need me. And yeah, all the other titles, right? You don't need to list them. But you're well over 13. So I don't know, cherry pick them one at a time for over the next few months and write poems about each. Yeah, there's an idea. Pick 13 titles and make a poem out of each one, but keep it abstract. Or maybe you should go for 20 titles or 100 fucking titles maybe one day. No, I don't think you'll make it that long. They won't be sincere, genuine. You can't formulate 100 archetypes that are that impressive and massive without the endurance to prove it, right? You just don't have that much time for that much endurance anymore. You said 17 years a year and a half ago, I think. Roughly. You shook a man's hand because you were calling the fucking bullshit right then and there. What does that mean? 17 years till what? It better not be till you retire, but it better be a fucking benchmark where you can see the accomplishment. It's not just seeds in the dirt. It's like harvest time, you know? One day you'll look back and smile. Like, fuck, man, you have... Why is Pete in jail? Why did Frank disappear? Why did John OD? Because you couldn't play by the rules. So people got hurt or displaced to keep you where you're at. So learn to blend. Go back on fucking Discord. Jump around in those fucking chat rooms. Just be quiet and listen. Wait for a cool conversation. Try to get something out of it. The moment that people are trying to fucking puppet you, give them the look. Give them the fucking look. Play along. Let them get something out of it. And remember, you serve all but you bow to none. You get tricked into doing shit all the fucking time. You're not even getting tricked anymore, but you're just kind of like, yeah, okay. Ooh, wow, I didn't see that one coming. It's part of it. Just live life, man. The fucking, you know, talk about the weather when you go for walks with your girl. And yeah, you're pretty stand-up guy. You're a pretty stand-up guy. But if you ever waver and you hook up with another girl because you explained that you didn't want to be monogamistic, you didn't even want the fucking relationship in the first place, that you were attracted to someone else, you explained all that shit, but she just kept hammering on you over and over and over again, and then you fucking fell for the vulnerability and the giggly side and the sweet, beautiful joy that no one else has ever seen. And now that she's built herself up, you can never fucking take that away from her. You can never take that away from her. She's so precious to you. So if you ever fuck around, you make sure it's brief, without love, spontaneous, not premeditated, and don't make a fucking habit. Don't ever be a greasy bastard. Don't. Fuck, you have sex, what, like 5 times a year? It's good enough. I get it. If you would have been allowed to get women like you fucking yearned for years and years and years, you'd have never been able to set your prerogatives properly, Dylan. And now that you're with a woman who you love for the sweet, sweet tenderness, not for the fucking her body and all that shit, you have like a best friend that you can talk to. You have someone who's really precious to you. And one day you'll look back and be thankful for all the memories that you built with her. Because that's what it is. They're memories. We're just memory makers. We're memory makers. That's our job. Vow to yourself that you will get your answers, or you will die trying. If Antarctica is a boundary and not a fucking continent, they will have to shoot you dead to stop you. Okay? You will hold a gun in your fucking hands and point it at them and walk forward so they shoot you. They're not gonna fucking put chains on you ever again. They are not gonna put chains on you ever again. Focus on the love.